I just want to make sure that you guys fully understand what you're doing. So in the prompt video that you guys watched, when I discussed that with that class, it was an in-class essay. You guys get that, right? Did you guys see that at all? So I'm talking about like just writing a 3-paragraph essay. This doesn't have to be that. If you have 4 paragraphs, that's fine. Just understand. So for these first 2 essays, it's fine if they end up being like formatted like a 5-paragraph essay. The difference between this and a high school 5-paragraph essay is that you're not just like listing the things that you're going to cover in the paragraphs, and the body paragraphs aren't just kind of like standalone arguments. They are arguments that it's like you're building a cohesive argument. So like the first paragraph leads into the next one and into the next one, so that you make a full argument using 3 paragraphs at the least, but you're not like, they're not just these isolated events. On top of that, your thesis statement isn't like a listing of your evidence, it is your reasoning.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, basically for the paragraphs, like what you basically just said in the notes, like the questions, like what's the message, cliche, persuasive, whatever, that could be like a paragraph question that we address in each paragraph.
So
maybe like we format it like that.
Like these right here, right on the screen?
Yeah.
So yeah. You shouldn't go over a different message each paragraph. Like imagine this is all pretty much, okay, so your thesis, everything in here should be in your thesis except for this one. And then each body paragraph, you are proving these things, those 3 things, with this stuff.
I see.
Yeah. So your first paragraph doesn't have to necessarily touch all the bases of those things, but it should be like building foundation towards your argument. Maybe you touch a little bit on what's encouraged in society in each paragraph, but maybe that only really fully comes out in your last paragraph. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically if we wanted to like choose a verse, and then that would be like our evidence that we address in each paragraph. Each paragraph is like different evidence that we build off of.
It could just be one word in a verse though. It could be one word, like the way that he uses it, like with the Bruno Mars song, Lucky for You, that's what I like, right? Just that one thing, why did he refer to it like that, lucky for you? That shows you his perspective on the matter. So it could be that, or like you said, it could be you're paraphrasing what is in a verse, like the whole verse is maybe portraying a perspective or something that is in the message. So one paragraph, your evidence could be an entire verse. Another paragraph could be just one line in the verse. So just remember, if you've got a full verse that you're trying to cover in the paragraph, that means paraphrase. That does not mean quote it, right? Because that's too much to quote.
Yeah.
No block quotes. Was that clear? Or did no one see? Okay, good.
There is one thing I'm getting confused about.
Yeah, what's up?
It's about writing more of the paragraphs, let's say 1, 2, and 3. It can be any of the verses from the song that I chose.
Wherever you find your evidence. So in the videos you guys saw when we went over the thrift shop song, all the evidence that I used was in one verse. You don't have to cover the whole song. Just know that if there's other information in the song that changes the meaning of the song, then yeah, you don't want to only look exclusively at the one paragraph. But if all your evidence for the message comes out of one verse, that's fine. You don't have to spread it around. You just need to find and utilize that. So remember, like, your evidence, you want to be able to explain it as concisely as possible, because you've got a lot of argument to make. If your whole entire essay just ends up being you summarizing it, if your essay just sounds like a Genius video where the artist is trying to interpret their own work, I watched a couple of those, they all suck. The artists don't even know how to actually interpret their work. By the time they come back to it, they're like, I don't know what this was about. And yet people live by it. So like, there's some smart artists too, and they don't really explain it on Genius. So don't even try to do that. Like, you are trying to explain something else. You're not just what they think they meant. You're explaining a message that they actually are putting out there, regardless of if they meant to or not. Another thing that's important to note before we go on. So the specific requirements, you'll notice on the prompt, that it says needs to be 2.5 pages at least, no less than 600 words. So if you're doing this right, you're going to have a hard time making it under 2.5 pages, because think about all the things you're having to do with this. Also, it's okay to mention that the song is subversive or realistic or cliche or whatever, but you should not beat that into the ground. That's just how you're pointing to how we need to interpret it and how you are interpreting it. So like you could even mention it in your thesis statement, but it doesn't have to be like an entire paragraph of how you prove that it's cliche. Your whole entire focus is supposed to be trying to show what message is being encouraged in society. And then this is just a way that helps you and your reader know how to interpret the message. Does that make sense?
What the message is behind the song?
Well, yeah, what the message is behind the song, which this will help you make sure you know what it is. So the other thing, make sure you turn it in as a PDF or a Word doc. I can't actually leave you notes unless you do it like that, which you want the notes, trust me.